Good afternoon, folks. As you may all know, Brazil is currently hosting the World Cup for soccer. But what you may not know is where the sport originally comes from. Most people would take a first guess at different countries in Europe, or maybe even different countries in South America. However, truth is that soccer originated from China, believe it or not. Our first records of any similarities to soccer are from the 3rd century before Christ, when young Chinese kids would kick a leather ball around and into a net for fun. There were many legends that went on saying that soccer really became popular in the medieval times in England, where they would use the head of whoever was guillotined that day as their soccer ball. In these times, soccer was a much more violent sport, where kicking and punching were very often seen. In 1365, we even had reports that King Edward III banned soccer due to the fact that his military were so preoccupied with playing and watching the sport that they did not tend to their military obligations. Over the years, soccer has obviously changed tremendously and has become much less of a violent sport, thank God. Although injuries and aggressive players are still seen quite often, there are now rules and guidelines that need to be followed, which allow the sport to be much less violent. Since then, there has been many players that have grown from living in poor countries and poor conditions to making something out of themselves through soccer. One of the biggest examples I can think of is a man named as Pele, who came from an extremely poor family and grew to be one of the greatest soccer players of his time. That's right, folks. Soccer can be played by anyone nowadays, no matter what your size, strength, or speed are. Now, professional soccer has become an increasingly popular sport to watch. Teams need to learn how to work together to be able to achieve success in what they do. Different players have different specialties on the team, so you can imagine every team needs a variety of all sorts of players. There are 4 main types of positions to be played on a soccer team. The first is being a goalie, the most obvious position of all, yet some may argue that it is the most important position of the team. Second is the defense. These guys are often bigger, more intimidating players who need to be able to keep up with the opposing offense. Third, we have midfielders, and finally, we have our forwards. These players need to be comfortable taking shots from just about any angle or distance on the field. Now, of course, there are some basic skills that every player on the team needs to have no matter what position you are in. These are things like speed, ball control, and cardio. Also, many of the taller players are often used up front so they can score goals with their head. During a soccer season, there are times when teams can exchange players. This is called the exchange season. It is only for a few short weeks every year when any team can make offers or exchanges with different team players. Now, this is a great sport to play. However, another common form of soccer is street or indoor soccer, which is often referred to as futsal. Futsal is quite similar to soccer. However, it is usually played indoors on a much smaller playing area with smaller nets and less players. This means players are doing much more tricks and moves to get around the opposing team, and there is a lot less passing than in normal soccer. This is a very convenient sport since it allows you to play soccer in the summer or in the winter, in the rain or in the shine. You don't need to have a full team of 11 players, which is also really convenient. Just 4 players will do just fine. People all around have found different games that are more than just games, to be honest. They help you improve your fundamentals of the actual sport. Many of these, like clock or keep up, involve dribbling the ball in the air while passing it to other players for as long as you can. This is a great way to practice your handling skills. There are thousands of moves in different games that can be done either to get around players, but some are, of course, just to show off. In the end, soccer is a sport for anyone. It is no longer a vicious sport or has any demand for expensive equipment, like hockey, for example. You just need to follow the rules and have a few buddies that are willing to have some fun. No matter what time of year it is, what the weather is like outside, how many players you have, you can always find a way to play soccer. This is definitely one of my favorite sports to play and watch. Whether you play futsal or soccer, it can always be fun. Thank you for watching.